Hey, morning. It's Celebration Friday, and of course, I'm very excited to bring this topic to you. This has been a topic in my mind for this past week. It's a constant reminder in my life at this point, and so I thought this would probably be a good one for my group because I think that when things are coming up for me, most likely they're coming up for other people. And I just thought it would be cool to share this. I'm going to share some examples, some bigger examples in my life from the past of attachment. But attachment's a really powerful thing. My coach has been talking to me about this because attachment um, is what leads us to suffering. And the attachment is attachment to a particular way of an outcome of coming about. So say that you really want a job, right? And you didn't get an interview for a company that you thought you would just kill it in. And you were attached to the idea of, that job being the one that you really wanted. And if it wasn't that job, then it wasn't gonna happen, right? It's like it's kind of that level of attachment. Like it has to be this one rather than the connection to a vision. So there's a really big difference here where my coach has been explaining this to me that your vision is a little bit broader. It's a little bit clear, like it's not super, super clear on all the details, but it's the thing that you really want and it has you feeling really good. So think about it from you want this job that pays you a really good salary, that gives you lots of cool responsibilities in the field that you really want to work in. You love your coworkers. You getting up in the morning is easy and you're excited to go to work, and you have all the things. All the things are there for for the job that you really want. Like you have a flexible schedule, whatever it is, Um, and then you start looking at jobs and you apply for a job that you're like, this is perfect, this is it, this is exactly what I want, it feels right, and then you don't get an interview. Or you do get an interview, but then you don't make the final cut. And then you get so upset about not making that final cut, right? It's because of that attachment. Now all of a sudden you're more attached to that particular outcome than you are to your original vision. So the vision would have you saying the right thing is coming into the future, and the attachment would say it's not coming because it didn't come right now, right? It didn't come with this particular job opportunity that you had applied for. And I'll give you an example of this in my life that was like there. You can see. I think you'll be able to see the arbitrariness of the attachment from this example. So last year I was launching my website and I was working for about 3 months on it with my web designer, and I really wanted it to launch before my birthday. I wanted it to be like my birthday present to myself. Um, and so I asked her to launch it, and she told me it would be launched by the day before or 2 days before my birthday. So I thought, okay, plenty of time, perfect. It's gonna be all set. Well, something happened. There was a glitch, and she wasn't able to and she was busy with other things that weekend. She was going on vacation for that weekend. So she wasn't able to finish the website by the time that I initially said. I was very clear with her that I wanted it by that time frame. And it wasn't happening. And when it dawned on me that there was no way that it was going to happen, I became absolutely furious. Like I had steam coming out of my ears. I was like, maybe I should ask for my money back. Like I was furious, and it was several hours of fury. My email had come down because of some connection between email and the website. So I couldn't even connect to my email and connect to my clients at that time. It was not my favorite moment. And it was towards the end of August, not a super busy time of the year, but I was just not pleased. And I called up my best friend, and she's like, you are so attached to this deadline working out that you are missing the bigger picture. And is this really worth it? Does it having the website launch on this day, does it really, really matter when it can launch next week? And I was like, oh, well, yeah, I get it. Like, I see it. And I'm like, but I'm still like, I asked her for this day. And she's like, but you're attached to how it's supposed to look. What you really have is a vision of a website that is beautiful that comes out, right? And I was like, yes. And she's like, well, if it can't happen today, do you trust that it's going to happen next week? And I was like, okay, yeah, all right, I get it. And she's like, so she basically led me down a path of questions where I understood that my attachment is what was causing me suffering. I was attached to saying, like, I wanted it on this day, and if I'm not going to get it, then I'm going to be pissed off about it, right? But what does that serve me? Because in the end, my website launched the following week, and it was beautiful, and people loved it, and I've gotten lots of compliments on it since. And I I spent several hours being furious about something that I was so attached to in that moment, but really does it in the long run, it didn't really matter that that happened, but in the moment that it was happening, I thought it was like the end of the world. And this is oftentimes the way people feel during, like, with jobs as well. And I felt this with jobs as well in the past. Very attached to sometimes even internships that I don't get. And when you start looking at it from the perspective of your longer vision is to have a job that you absolutely love, that is meaningful to you, that fulfills you, and you're not getting an interview for a very particular role, like, you don't know if that role is actually that perfect for you. Most likely it's not if you haven't gotten an interview for it. And that's okay. Um, it's going to work out in the time frame that it's going to work out, and trusting in that rather than saying it has to happen in my timeline, and being attached to the timeline and being attached to the way it shows up, that only serves to cause you suffering. And I've been learning that a lot it happens all the time. I still experience that, and I still practice a lot of patience and compassion for myself, as well as understanding where I am attached and where I'm not. It happens to everybody. We're human. And it's like, the difference is, when you do become attached, can you become aware of your attachment? And how long do you need to stay attached before you say, okay, I'm ready to let it go? For me, it took me a couple hours with the website. Sometimes it takes more time, sometimes it takes less time. It just depends on the topic. But the sooner that you can become aware of your attachment, the sooner that you can let go of it and focus on your vision and focus on what you really want to be creating and celebrating the fact that that's coming to you, the better you will feel overall. The better the journey becomes for your job search, the better your life feels, because you are no longer attached to a way that it shows up. And that attachment is what's going to cause you so much pain in the short run. Because in the end, you're going to get a job that you want. You're going to become happy. The time frame is, up to you and up to the universe to figure out together. And it may not happen within 3 months or 6 months, and it totally depends on you and what you're up to and what you're trying to create. But when we become attached to it showing up in a certain time frame, in a certain way, with certain things, and we're not open to more possibility, we do tend to suffer. So the question is, what is your vision? And is your vision more important than your attachment to the short-term outcome that you think that you're creating, right? So for me, my vision was having a beautiful website that launched and that people loved and that I loved. And my attachment was to have it up and running by August 18th, I think was the deadline. So clearly that attachment doesn't align to my vision. Actually, the longer term vision had no deadline, and it didn't matter when it went up, but it would go up, right? So I needed to surrender to the experience of saying, this website's not going to happen by August 18th, clearly. That's okay. And where can I find joy right now in this experience? And where can I learn from this experience? And the same goes for any interview, any, like, if you're not offered a raise, if you don't get what you like want, like these these things happen in your career. And the question is, can you see what your bigger vision is and to say, so if I'm not getting this, if I asked for a salary increase or a promotion and told my boss, like, without this, I think I just, if I don't get this, I think I need to leave, and your boss doesn't give it to you, then it's time, like, you may be attached hoping that your boss would give it to you, but if your boss doesn't, are you ready to say, all right, I see that this is not part of my longer vision. I made it very clear what I needed and I didn't get what I needed, and I don't need to be attached to the way this looks, and I can say instead, it's just time to find something else. That's just another example. So it's up to you to make that decision. It's up to you to figure out what do you feel like being attached to and what you don't feel like being attached to. But when you weigh your vision and your bigger goals against the short-term pain, I believe that without a doubt you will want to choose your vision every single time. And the question is, how long do you want to be attached for before you choose your vision instead? So let me know what you think of that. What are you attached to today? Share it in this thread. I'd love to hear it from you. I've shared a couple things that I've been attached to, and there's always some attachment that I experience, and I'm always learning every single day from this. So you're not alone. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you'd rather celebrate. Let's talk about what you really want to get out of this world, because when you focus on the attachment, your energy's focusing on places where you can't be productive, you can't move forward. The attachment's simply that suffering, and your energy's focused there. So let's talk about why your energy's focused there and how we can help you shift to focusing on your vision and what you really want, and celebrating that vision today. So share in the thread. I'd love to hear from you, and I can't wait to see what you create. Bye.